George building collapse, no compensation for victims. Almost a year ago, the collapse of a George apartment building shocked the country. But, according to a GroundUp report, survivors and relatives of the deceased have yet to receive any payout from the compensation fund. On May 6, 2024, a 5-story apartment block collapsed in George in the Western Cape. 34 workers were killed. 26 survived, but most of them were left with injuries. Amongst the injured are 2 Mozambican workers, Ivaldo Macomo and Virgilio Saito, who spoke to GroundUp about their life after the collapse. Macomo, who lost a leg in the collapse, is unlikely to work again. Although Saito has finished his medical treatment, he experiences pain from nerve damage to his feet and has struggled to find work after the George building collapse. The Compensation for Occupational Injuries and Diseases Act makes provision for a compensation fund. This finance entity should cover the medical costs of injured workers. It should also provide income support to those permanently disabled and the families of the deceased. It covers both South African workers and immigrants who have worked in the country longer than a year. However, the compensation fund has been dogged with fraud and poor audit outcomes. This means it takes months for claims to be paid and some are never paid at all. At least 11 of the George building survivors submitted claims to the compensation fund. Some of them have had their medical expenses covered from the fund, but GroundUp reports that none of the survivors or the families of the dead have received compensation payouts. Macomo was told by his doctor that his claim had been approved. However, he hasn't received any payout. The same is true of the families of those who died. Child Kayuni, the husband of cleaner Taiwan Mohango who died on the site, has not received any compensation. According to GroundUp, the Department of Labor has refused to comment while the compensation payout is ongoing.